on the air before?
Wow. No,
On the air before?
no, but should be.
Was before.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, ready? We are going to go live in five. We don't need the headphones because Brian's not here yet. We're going to go live in five, four, three, two, one. All right. We got a chance to hear Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. And of course, the lead singer will be none other than Teddy Pendergrass. And ladies and gentlemen, you guys are in for a treat this evening. The man that came to my film festival, who has been a critic of film for the past 30 years, who's not only worked with the greats like Bonnie DeShong, but he's been published. His work has been seen all over the world. And that's just a brief intro. There's way more. I mean, his resume would take the whole hour for me to finish in order to just introduce him. So I just want you to know that this man came to our film festival and he didn't just give the filmmakers critique, he gave them solid advice on how they can improve their craft. Because most of the time, he could have been mean. He could have said, you know, this film that did actually win has a lot of blurry spots, and the sound was terrible. He was, for every filmmaker, he was positive, and that is a testament to his character. He helped them, but didn't bash them.
Okay.
He encouraged them, which is something that most filmmakers don't do. So without further ado, I can only say thank you and hello to everyone. Welcome the audience to Mr. Reginald Ponder.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So tell us more about when you got started, Mr. Ponder.
Well, I actually start to say that it's really nice to be in the studio because this is right around the corner from where I grew up. I grew up on 33rd and King Drive. So
Oh, wow.
I went to Douglas Elementary. My best friend actually graduated from IIT here. So this is home ground. I play basketball over here all the time. So back in the day, in fact, the Chicago Classic basketball tournament will be played here.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Check out all the pros, Jordan and all those folks would come down here and play. So this is home turf for me. So I'm really happy to be here.
All right, looks like Brian Stanley has joined us here finally. And we want to say hello to Brian Stanley, Stan the Man's baby brother.
Oh, you did not. I just was first just saying that this was my home turf. The question was how I got started, and as a young kid, I always would watch the movies and listen to white boys tell us what to do. And if people don't know that the film criticism area is dominated by white boys. And what I mean by that doesn't mean there aren't black women, white women, and black men talking about the movies, but the major establishments hire white boys. And so white boys tell us what we should like, why we should like it, how we should like it, and why things are good. And that ends up having us with a Academy Award winning movie called Anora, which was one of the worst movies of the year last year. But anyway, I digress.
Yes.
I would watch with my brothers and sisters, and we would always hear the white guys say, Spike Lee wasn't this, or this black piece of work wasn't good for some reason. And usually it's because they just didn't have a cultural grounding in terms of understanding our work and our messages. It's really interesting because usually most of that work is universal. The messages are universal, but they, for some reason, couldn't understand it. So that's really how I got started. When I got out of business school, at my first job, I went and petitioned to write for Indigo magazine, and that's really how I got started, and the rest is history. As I was telling you a little earlier, the best accomplishment, or our best really comes from my mother. Her name is Carrie Ponder, and she raised 8 of us basically by herself on 33rd and King Drive, 47 in Ellis, and 43rd and King Drive. And she never made more than $10,000 a year. She was able to figure out how to get us the best education and get us into some of the best schools in the world, and never having a dollar. So,
Wow.
very, very, she's deceased, our rep mom, but she was one of the greatest people that I know, and in fact, I think that a lot of other people as well. She ended up being in the Sun-Times, the Tribune, on Oprah, on, you know you made it when you get on the National Enquirer. I'm standing in the store trying to buy something, Jewel, on 35th, and I'm looking at the National Enquirer, and they got a picture of me and my mother and the family. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, we in the National Enquirer. Now, of course, they sensationalize it, but my mom was very, very instrumental in just trying to make sure that from an educational standpoint that we could have what everybody else had. My brother right over me, Rhino, he went to Princeton. He went to Dunbar, and he matriculated to Princeton. I went to Hyde Park, and then I followed him to Princeton, and have the other 6 have done phenomenal in their own right. So yeah. After Princeton, I went to Columbia University in New York, and I did about a year there, but then I dropped out because one day I called home, and my brother was just getting home at 10 o'clock at night, and I asked him, my younger brother, I asked him what was going on, and he said, well, the lights were out. And I figured out at that point that it really didn't matter to get an MBA when my mother was really, really struggling at that time. So I came back home, worked for a few years, about 4 or 5 years, and then I went back to business school at the University of Chicago. So that's my academic journey, and yeah. I'm going to give the advice that my brother Rhino gave me when I wanted to go into writing. He said, if you're a writer, write. Whether you get paid for it or not, just write. So if you have an idea or you have some thoughts about something, start writing it and putting it down on paper. And if you're a filmmaker, start creating film content. And if that might be in small batches, that might even be bigger. It's really interesting when I was invited to the film showcase, is that you could see that these people had stories to tell, and they were working hard to tell those stories. And I really appreciate your comment about that I didn't bash them. I appreciate that comment. I think you got to tell them the truth, is that you got some work to do. There's some things that you need to work on. But I also think you have to tell them where they went right. And most of them went right with their stories. They had stories to tell, and they figured out how to make sure when you left, at least you understood the message and the story that they were trying to give. So my advice would be, if you're a filmmaker, don't get caught up in, I don't have the right lens, I don't have the kind of products that I need. go out there and do it. Do the trial and error. When you look at somebody like Issa Rae, she started doing things on the internet.
On YouTube, yeah.
On YouTube. And then all of a sudden, she's almost untouchable in terms of trying to get at her, trying to talk to her, because she has loads of products and she's doing a phenomenal job. So I would just say to people, start where you are, you got stuff, keep it moving.
Oh yeah, so if you are aspiring to write a play, I'll be working with Kennedy King College, and you'll be able to come and write your own play. And not only just write it, but at the end of the program, which is 4 weeks, you'll be able to perform it. So we're gonna start with a template that everyone's gonna fill out, and then eventually, because it's 4 weeks, I can't trust people's mind to just do it on their own. We're gonna take that template, dump it into AI in order to get a 5-minute piece that they will perform. But of course, they gotta go back and tweak it, because yes, ChatGPT will give you content, but it will not give you context. So it still requires human intervention. And besides, they're constantly tweaking it anyways. Because 2 weeks ago, ChatGPT was black. Now it's mixed race whenever you ask that question. That's him.
In which we have news too. Yes, and so trauma attraction, of course, coming from a therapy lens, me being a therapist, but also a person who has had a large amount of trauma. And so Victor and Brian and I were sitting inside the studio about a year ago.
About a year
ago. We were talking about the different stories, the different traumas that we have gone through. And I think as both you guys said, hey, you know what? You should take the story and turn it into a play. And after I denied it about 5 times. It's just like how I denied the play that Brian, that you asked me to be in a couple years ago. And I decided to say, you know what? Let me go ahead. Matter of fact, Victor challenged me and said, you know what? I challenge you to start. And I stayed up all night and I wrote the entire thing.
Yes, you did.
I wrote the entire play in one night as soon as we left the studio. And then at that point in the game, I started remembering and just listening to you guys. And I think, shouts out to Tyler Perry, but for one reason is that I heard Tyler Perry say that when he writes his characters, he literally acts out the voices. And it's like he'll be standing in one spot and then he'll have the dialogue going back and forth. So when I wrote Trauma Attraction, I'm sure I pissed my wife off because I was in the living room going back and forth saying, girl this, girl that. And I was talking back and forth because I was up until at least, oh my God. I was actually up until like 5 o'clock, like 5:30, and I had to be up at like 7 o'clock. And I was up all night. Soon we left the studio, just writing, and writing different characters. And so I'm thankful because Trauma Attraction literally has a part of my life in it.
And go ahead and make the announcement.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, go ahead.
No, we have to save that for you.
We had our auditions, the first auditions yesterday for Trauma Attraction at the Carnegie Woodson Library. And, I'm thankful of the experience yesterday. Thank you for the guidance and the direction of Brian Stanley and Victor Gully. And we asked, and the first person that came to mind, because Darnell Brooks was in the play that we were just in recently,
The Relative History.
And while thinking about the characters, he came to mind. And I said, me and him just had a brief conversation, in between the scenes. Just had a brief,
Really small conversation.
Really small conversation. And I said, he'll be perfect. And he met today, and I have my Byron. So out of the 4 roles I am casting for, I have one of the lead. And if you mind saying, how did you feel about the character? Like, what made you be drawn to this particular character?
After hearing you speak about the entire play within itself, I think reading it is what really captivated me. So after reading it in its full totality, yeah,
Come on.
yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited.
If I may, what you said, it got you. Speak more on it.
Yeah.
When I think about the character of Byron, like I shared with Mr. Victor and Mr. Benaya, there's a little bit of me in Byron. I can't say that I went through the same exact thing, but there's a little bit of me. When he asked me to read and read with emotion, I took myself back to some of my trauma. That's what allowed me to convey what he needed to hear.
That's great. That's great.
So once you give Mr. Ponder and of course our audience a summary of what trauma attraction is so that they have something to look forward to when they come to a Taste of Theater festival.
So, as I had said before, if people don't know that outside of this, I'm a therapist. And I say that for a reason. It's because as being a therapist, and I'm sure I never kind of smiled about this, being a therapist who can't take his own advice. And so, the very thing that we have been traumatized with as a child, and even in our adulthood, unconsciously, many of us are drawn to that very exact thing. And I'll do some self-disclosure. I don't really have my father around. My father's still living, and my father's characteristics, he's very likable, but not exactly the greatest father. And many of my exes that I have chosen, they had some of the same characteristics. Now, mind you, I love how they look at things like that, but the characteristics, I realized they were not the right person for me because I was chasing something that I was missing. And so the very thing that I did not get healing and work on healing and getting therapy, it wasn't until I recognized my shadow and I recognized my issues. Mm-hmm. So now I'm able to see, wow, it was him who traumatized me, and it wasn't always the person who hurt me, but I allowed them to hurt me as long as they did because I was missing something in my life. Mm-hmm. So trauma attraction itself is written around the very thing that we try to avoid, that we're drawn to. Many of us, all of us are men, many of us are fixers as men. We like people, we like women and things like that, and we like to be fixers. We don't want to fix the woman's problem, we want to fix someone. Here, trauma attraction is a little more than that. All of the characters, all of the 4 characters have something going on. Without me telling the play, but all the characters have something going on.
And just like you came, Mr. Ponder, you came to the film festival at ETA. This is a theater festival, so you'll be able to see one scene of 5 different theatrical plays each night. I mean, just Saturday night.
Yes,
because we're only doing Saturday and we're not doing Friday. And Trauma Attraction will be one of the plays that will be showcased. So you won't see the whole play, just see a small snippet.
And I'm thankful to be, this is my first one. I'll admit it, this is my first one. And I'm thankful to Donnell for Breeds of Life. Like, oh my God, it just seems different than us, Brian and Victor just reading it, but it's like, I see Donnell shaking his head right now.
It's bigger than me, trust me. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me.
It's interesting. I can, but I'm actually not going to answer your question and tell you that I'm going to go to a playwright, and that's August Wilson. Is that August Wilson's work is he is probably one of the greatest writers in America, in the world, that we do not give the type of gravitas to. This man, when you think about what he wrote and you watch these actors play it over and over again, you say, okay, it can't be topped, it can't be done again. But his work is meant to be played over and over again. So from a cinematic perspective, the fact that you get somebody like a Denzel who feels that he needs to protect that work and put it out there over and over again, August Wilson really stands out to me. And it might not be autobiographical, but his work really stands out for me as someone. And I apologize for not answering that question about, because, but August Wilson really, I was speaking to someone just recently, and it's really interesting you guys talk about the theater showcase. And so, the fact that his work translates so well from a theatrical perspective, if you ever see an August Wilson play, if you've seen it on Broadway, at the Shakespeare Theater, wherever you've seen it, I don't know how you can walk out of there without feeling the importance of what he was trying to say about Black people and Black life.
Yes.
And then when you see it on the screen, you say, wow, they were able to take that and put that on the screen too, because the way in which his work is, in some ways, it might not lend itself to a cinematic format. But somehow, some way, they're able to do that. When you look at the piano lesson, you say to yourself, how come the people who were in the piano lesson didn't win an Oscar? So I'll stop there.
Yeah, there was another film that you recommended that I went and watched. It was about the gentleman who was performing plays in prison. You said that should have won the Oscar.
Sing Sing.
Sing, that's it, yes.
Sing Sing. For people who don't know about this film, it had only 2 actors, quote unquote actors in the film, and that was Coleman Domingo and Paul Raci. Everybody else in that film graduated through the Sing Sing acting program. And so when you watch this film and you see a Clarence Macklin go toe to toe with a Coleman Domingo, Clarence Macklin was incarcerated. He was locked up. This was a guy who honed his craft in jail. In that program, the recidivism rate is, I think, somewhere below 10%. So once those people go through the program, because it's interesting you talk about how you're a therapist, is that the acting in many ways is therapy. You just said this.
100%.
You just said this, is that you were like, well, I saw something in me there. And so what happens if you saw this movie, and did you get to see it?
Yes, I did.
It's very, very powerful, because these men learn more about themselves than they learn about the craft of acting. And I think that that's what makes a better actor, as you learn more about yourself and your insecurities, the things that you like, all those things, because then you're able to reach down deep and say, oh, I remember how it was when I had to eat peanut butter and jelly.
Oh,
I remember that. So when you write the thing that says it's peanut butter and jelly, you're like, oh, I know that scene. I know what it is. This is the best. This tastes like steak. So yeah.
we go in with an open mind, and can you talk about your process, or are you able to share your process with them?
I am able to share my process. My process is that I construct my reviews saying, what's it about, who's in it, what's to like, what's not to like, and then my rating. I believe that every movie has something in it that you can like. Even if you dislike the movie. I disliked Honora. I did not like that movie. But there's no way that you can say that young lady didn't play that role really, really well. If you say that, you're doing her a disservice. You might not like the role, you might not like the story, you might not like how it all came together, but she played that role. Was it Oscar worthy? Nah, no. But that's my process. It's first to see what did I like about the movie, even if I didn't like it, and then to talk about what I didn't like about the movie, and then that helps inform what my final verdict is, so to speak. But I think you can like something about everything. I mean, you guys like Victor, see? I mean, I don't understand that.
But there's always something to love and enjoy, and Victor's a world-class actor. I swear, we work on so many different projects. He's amazing. One of the things too is like, how do you become a film critic? How does that happen? I'm pursuing an MFA, and I want to do so much with this MFA, and perhaps that's the road I can go down too.
I think you can do it a couple of ways. You can actually study to become a film critic, people get their degree in film criticism and learn the technical aspects of film. And I think that's good. That's not me. I'm not that technical person. I'm the story person. Does the story resonate, and does it say something to you when you leave the theater?
Okay.
A great movie for me is a movie that, number one, has to have you talking about the film once you leave. And not just outside the door, when you're walking outside the door. Now, that's the first one. When you're walking outside the door of the theater, if you're talking about the movie, that's a good thing. You're like, man, I don't know if that character was, oh man, I really felt that. Cool. But then when you get home, if you are talking to whomever is at home about this movie, then that's starting to signal that this might be a good movie. And then my ultimate test for what I call is a great movie, and I think we talked about this, but I think this is universal, is that if you are watching TV and you are scanning channels, you're flipping through channels, and your movie comes on. It doesn't matter where in that movie it is. If you stop and watch it, then that's a great movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
It could be like 4 minutes left.
You gonna pause.
And he's like, I gotta watch the rest of this.
I gotta see it.
Or it could be like right in the middle when the heist is happening. You go, oh, I know what's gonna happen, but I have to watch this. And so that's my process, part of my process. But I think that you can become a film critic if you study to do so. And you can also become a film critic because we all are film critics.
Yeah.
All of us are. When I go, I can't wait to see your play. I can't wait to see your play, and I'm gonna walk away from it saying, "Oh, I got that. I understand. Oh, that's why you put the peanut butter sandwich in." Oh, I got that. So I think that what I did is when I left business school, I went to a publication and I said, "Hey, I want to write for your paper." They laughed at me and said, "Nah, you haven't done it." I was like, yeah, well, I hate to flash this because I don't think going to Princeton means nothing, by the way. But I flashed it. I said, well, I went to Princeton. They was like, oh, that might mean you can write a little bit. Okay, and they gave me a chance. I have a sister. I want to say why I don't think Princeton means something. I just want to say this real quick. Is I have a sister who won 2 years ago the Golden Apple Award here in Chicago for teaching. She is phenomenal. And she went to Illinois State. Okay. She's smarter than me. She's more dynamic. She's fantastic. That doesn't mean I don't have something to bring to the table. But Princeton doesn't mean that I got something that's better than what she has. She is phenomenal. And she didn't need to win the Golden Apple, by the way, for me to tell you she's phenomenal, because what she does for those students is absolutely phenomenal. But sometimes you gotta flex, you know, and I got a personal degree, so I flexed. And they were like, oh, okay, well, we'll try you out, and then the rest is history. So that answers that.
Most definitely. When you talk about movies that sort of stand the test of time, from getting in the car to getting back home, and I know the film Purple Rain, we could probably talk to Victor about that for 2 or
Yes.
3 days. Is that correct, Victor?
That's without a doubt. Purple Rain, I can even quote parts some 40 years later. That just tells you how good a film it is. It is. And you know it's coming, like he said. You know that song is coming. But the emotion, everything just still comes like you were there watching it in the movie theater. And then it's something that you also can connect with people from that who are in your age range. Because like I can give you a quote. I mean, everybody can give you a quote from a movie at some point. Like you said, we're all film critics. So if I would say to you, surely you must be joking, then those that know that where that comes from, they would say, I'm not joking and stop calling me Shirley, because it comes from the movie Airplane. So if they don't know that reference, you know, they're definitely under 40. All right? Or if you say, I'll be back, you know that right there.
We all know that.
And if they don't, that's the Terminator.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this movies also help define our generation, which is why what you do is so important, and what you said is so important. So what movies do you feel have defined not just current generation, but previous generations?
There are a few, and you mentioned The Line. I was talking to someone yesterday that I still, a very famous film critic, Sean Edwards, from out of Kansas City, Missouri. I was talking to Sean. He just so you know who he is the longest standing film critic, black film critic on TV.
Oh, wow.
So he's on TV in Kansas City and might be one of the only who has been on TV for such a consistent time. But I was talking to him yesterday, and when I walk into a restaurant, I still say, where the black people? Why ain't no black people on the wall? Now, hopefully all y'all know what that
do the right thing.
You know, there ain't no black people on the wall. You know, so that's one of those, and when you show it to a younger generation like yourself, hopefully that younger generation it's still relevant. And I think a movie like Do the Right Thing is still relevant.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people aren't watching Malcolm X, the movie Malcolm X, but that movie is one of those films that should be on everybody's watch list. I know I'm talking some of Spike Lee's, filmography, if you will, but those two films to me should absolutely be on people's list to watch, because it talks about a lot of things that are still relevant today, and while we are still trying to struggle and understand about who comes into our neighborhoods and do what they do. Malcolm X speaks to that as well, because that's where Malcolm X is saying we have to do for ourselves and learn how to not listen to all the outside noise. We are always asking people to help us, but we need to do things on our own. So those two movies come to mind. I think that today, when you look at films, you need to know that what Ryan Coogler just did with Sinners
Yes.
is,
Yes.
and I'd love to hear you guys talk about that, because what he just did with Sinners is going to be a film that's going to be talked about for a long, long time. I'd love to hear you guys thought about it.
Well, I'll let the younger generation start first.
I was blown away. Like, literally, I wasn't expecting it to be what I saw. But after seeing it, it's definitely one of those movies, like you said, you want to sit at home and you want to talk about it. Because it's like, wow, I wasn't there's no way I would have, my math would have took me to think of what he came up with.
It was definitely a phenomenal film when having to look at it from a holistic view and seeing how everything matters. And of course, the title Sinners, like being able to let sin in when you invite it, but it won't come in
Unless you invite it.
unless you invite it. And so everybody in the film was a sinner, but they invited more sin in, which in turn, the vampiristic aspect of people sucking you dry of what you allow to get around you. As we say, as it's a phrase I say all the time to my clients, and I say to my friends all the time, protect your peace,
Yes.
protect your energy.
Wow.
I've said it a couple times before.
Oh, yes,
We
you
said- I say a lot, protect your peace, protect
And
your
you
energy.
stepped in and protected the peace when things have gotten out of hand here.
Yes, yes. But
I didn't get a chance to see Sinners just yet. I do plan to add it to.
What did he say? What did he say?
He didn't see it yet.
To be supporting the local Chicagoland filmmakers and been enjoying the stories that have been told. Obviously, there are technical things that happen in filmmaking, but following the story, such as what you're trying to discuss, is all so key for me. As a writer, I fall in love with the story aspect of it and where it can take you. And one of the great things about movies, if you all can think about this, like when you go watch your movies, you go out to the movies or you watch it at home, I look at a movie as a chance to sometimes just get away. And
yes,
to get away for that 2 hours and get engulfed in someone else's story. It be an action film, be a romantic comedy, be some drama. And I'm not too much of a science fiction, except Iron Power, I'm watching that. But do you all go to movies to get away from things and just to zone out or so?
It becomes my happy place. Getting into acting myself, I started to see film differently. You know, even sitting at home watching TV, I started to watch the show from a different lens. I'm looking at it from a different aspect now because once you do it, it's like, they could have did
yeah.
this different. The storyline could have been a little better. You know, they could have pulled more out of this. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I think one of the things that, maybe someone brought up Tyler Perry. I thought I heard the name earlier today. I think one of the things that people do a disservice to Tyler Perry is that they don't understand how smart he is. And I'm not talking about how smart he is from a business standpoint. I'm talking about how smart he is from a cinematic standpoint. What Tyler does is that he understands that there is this sentiment in the black community that I'm not going to any movie that's going to make me feel that trauma again. Trauma. I'm not going to those kind of movies. So Tyler has to mask the trauma with some buffoonery. And he's very, very smart. And I'm saying buffoonery, and that is actually disrespectful to his craft because it's not buffoonery.
It's comedy.
It's comedy and it's other things to kind of make you think, okay, what is he saying? But if you look at every film, and I don't like all Tyler Perry films, so this is not me saying, oh, I'm a Tyler Perry like zealot. That's not me. There's some films I'm like, oh, Tyler, no, I didn't like that. But he is a smart filmmaker because he knows that sentiment. How many people have seen Rosewood? Nobody.
I've seen it.
I've seen it several
But I'm just saying that you ask your people, have you seen Rosewood? Nah, I can't watch that. How many people saw Precious? Be like, nah, I can't. I just can't go see that. And we can keep going down the road of the films that make of 12 Years a Slave. I knew more white folks that saw 12 Years a Slave than black
Because
black
I'm
people.
one that didn't see it.
They were like, I cannot go see these movies. So to your point, there are a lot of people who are looking for escapism, and so they're going to go to a movie even if it's not good, or not great. like a Superman. The Superman movie that's out now it's okay. It's not bad. It's worth going to check it out, but it's not great. It's not gonna make you come out and say, oh, this is Black Panther. I need to go see this. Or this is the first Iron Man. I need to check this out. Superman it's not gonna do that.
Okay.
But it's escapism. There's a lot of us are like, okay, we done had a tough week. It's time to go out and have a good time and
Yeah.
just see something that's a little not where we don't have to think about it too much and don't have to have trauma attraction. Oh, I'm sorry, trauma.
I think the previews lie to us sometimes. So, you know, you go
Yeah.
and you watch the trailer and you scan through the previews and you get there and it's not what you thought it was gonna be, or it's not what your eyes deceived you.
But sometimes we go, like, my movie is Antoine Fisher. Like, I love to see Antoine Fisher. Now, Antoine Fisher, when I'm feeling down, I watch Antoine Fisher to relate to his pain. And that's kind of like how the blues is when it comes to us. We feeling down, we listen to the blues, listen to someone else's pain to make us feel better. So I watch Antoine Fisher's trauma. His trauma is not my trauma, but part of his trauma is mine, and then I feel better. So I have to go into my deep place to feel better. But I like how it would, the cinematic aspect of that and how the flashbacks, again, I like how it was put together because that's my level of escaping, but also connecting.
Now, actually, what I was going to say, when I'm watching a film, I'm first looking for the story and trying to figure out if I can figure out the ending. And if I can't figure out the ending, you got a great story on your hands, buddy. Oh my goodness. But most of them, you can say, okay, well, she's gonna do this, he gonna do that, they're gonna get back together. And I'm like, okay, yeah, next film.
The thing about that, Victor, is that someone once told me there's only 8 stories in the world. So you pretty much can figure out where it's gonna go, where it's gonna end. The key is how you tell that story. Many times we're watching the same story.
True, very
We're
true.
watching boy likes girl, girl don't like boy, girl kind of likes boy, boy really likes girl, girl says no to boy, and then girl and boy get together.
Yeah.
It's the same story, but it's how it's told. And what happens in many of the films is we'll look and say, what you said a little earlier, oh, I see myself in this. I see when I stepped to her and she was like, no. And so you know what's gonna happen in the end, but it's really what happens in the middle. Is that if the middle can keep you to the end. Because if you know what's gonna happen in the end, this is the thing about the great movie that we talked about, is that we are watching movies that we already know what the end is gonna be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only reason we're watching them is because we know that the middle is so interesting. So that's what I would say is that, yeah, you're right, you can figure out the film, but did they do it in a way that keeps you in the fold? I was talking the other day about how Jason Bourne movies, all of them except the Gerard Butler one, they keep me every time.
Yeah.
We know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
We know, we knew from the beginning, for the most part, what was gonna happen at the end. But man, that middle is so interesting. So that's what I propose and throw out to you.
Stories are the same over time. In film school and other places, you learn about the hero's journey, where the film opens up, it's an ordinary world, and there's a call to action, there's a meter and mentor, and you got to face those demons, and you come out on the end. There's a whole circle that you go around it, and again, every film is the same. You kind of get the chance to do that. We were talking the other day about like Superman, that film. Like, although I'm taking my son, we've been watching Superman 1 and 2. We got to get to 3 because he's playing video games all the time, so he can't give me the time anymore. But we're gonna go see the Superman film, and even on The View earlier today, or maybe on Good Morning America, one of the two, they talked about how the trailer for Superman was the most watched trailer in Disney history. I never heard that, but that's one of Victor's favorite companies, Disney's. And so,
Then that's DC.
Disney's not DC, no.
It's DC.
DC is Warner Brothers, I thought, right?
Well, Superman is DC. Right? Superman, Batman is DC. But, yeah.
So it's not Disney.
It sounds the same. DC, Disney.
Don't let it trick you. Don't watch it. Just listen to it.
Yeah.
Don't let it trick you.
Ah. Yeah. Shouts out to Val Kilmer.
All right, so since we are coming up to the
Hold
close,
on, real quick. What's yours? What's yours?
Yeah.
it's always gonna be Purple Rain.
Yeah, we
Purple
talked
Rain
about
is
that
just
ahead of
gonna
time.
be
Okay.
number one, and right behind that is the 5 Heartbeats.
Okay, all
Come
right.
on now.
Can
Like I said, Antoine Fisher would actually be.
give me another one.
You know what? It would be the Avengers franchise. And I know we're talking about how we know the plot line, but if I could say that what caught me off guard was like Infinity War. The bad guys didn't win. Oh, I'm sorry, the good guys didn't win. The bad guys lost. But they picked it back up second film. But that was on purpose.
And you saw?
Man would have to be Loving Basketball, Brown Sugar,
There we go.
Best Man, because those are the actors that made me want to do this.
Wow.
Yeah, Purple Rain is the one that made me want to do this too. So I commend you. We got some on that.
That man, don't do that. Don't do that one. Don't do that one.
Yeah, it'll be on the Facebook page. It's also on the Facebook page, yes.
How can people get tickets to the Taste of Theater Festival?
Oh, they just go to tasteoftheatre.org and you'll click on tickets and you'll see it right there.
And how many plays will be shown that day?
5 plays will be showcased that evening. They'll, of course, one of them being Trauma Attraction.
And how much are tickets?
$45.
There we go. But show up and support all of the actors and other directors, playwrights. I mean, shouts out to every single person who put in their blood, sweat, and tears and heart into their productions and their passion. So, you know, don't just come see me or anything that's pertaining to me. See everyone. Support everyone. Yes.
My Upstage.
Let's go.
My Upstage, you can manage your entire play through that platform. And so in so many words, if you are a theater company, you can find the play to produce, find the people to manage the play, the people to perform the play, and of course, the audience to come see the play.
That's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, it's a one-stop shop. So with that being said, I'd like to get you guys top 5 films or plays. Top 5. We want to start with the film critic, the man who's seen more films than all of us. Your top 5.
Well, I don't know, top 5. I'll tell you that that it just depends on the mood. It's really interesting. We kind of talk about that, but Do the Right Thing is definitely one of the movies that I'll watch.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about I'm forgetting the name of the heist with Mos Def and no.
Oh, yeah.
Italian Job. I watch that it doesn't matter if I'm watching that in a heartbeat. Love and Basketball is absolutely one of mine.
That was good.
One of mine. But I like Brown Sugar as well because I proposed to my wife in a club. So anyway, Brown Sugar kind of meant that whole thing about when you fell in love with hip hop. So I also like the film that was made here in Chicago with Lorenz Tate and Neil Long, Love Jones. Love Jones.
Yes.
Because that directly sparks with me. But there's so many. My favorite film of all time, however, is It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh,
And the reason it is because you kind of alluded to it, is that when you see, it's not only was the movie good, it's when you saw it and who you saw it with. And so you have to take that into account when you are saying what your favorite movie is. And I remember watching It's a Wonderful Life as a kid with my brothers and sisters, and it told me right then and there that all of our lives were important. Because if George Bailey had not been around, his brother wouldn't have been saved from the water, that Pottersville would have been, it would become Pottersville.
that's right.
Mary wouldn't have been married, it would have been an old, not widow, but never got married. And so it really told me that, everybody's life is important. So, but it was the time in which I saw it, it had that impression on me, so you can't take that, it's still there. So those are some of the movies that I would throw out.
Donnell, your top 5?
Here we go.
It's kind of tough. Love Jones, of course. That was a movie that my best friend had for me because I would watch it frontwards and backwards. Disappearing Acts, Brown Sugar. Pretty much because I'm a hopeless romantic. So Love Jones, yeah, those are it for me, most definitely. Oh, but I did really enjoy the Fat Heartbeats though. I really enjoyed the Fat Heartbeats.
Yeah. I love that film too because the story took a turn that I wasn't expecting. When you see Eddie Kane at the end, I was like, oh man, I feel like going on. And then when you go back and watch it, it's like, oh, that was the manager's favorite song. He sang that all through the film.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, he did it. He did it on that one.
Yeah.
I love musical movies. So, I think I fall in the same consensus right now, the 5 Heartbeats. The Temptations movie.
Oh yeah. Ain't nobody come to see Otis.
So, I watch it over and over and over again. I'm a cinematic person. I am a Marvel fan. So I love Luke Cage. I love to watch season 2 all over again when they introduced Bushmaster. I love how it grew, and I love the emotion and how it went to show his vulnerability. So for me, it's like now, being on the other side of it, I see things differently right now. I can't see it as really entertainment. I kind of see it of like how it grows now. I see things, I enjoy it differently now. Every movie I watch, it seems different. I'll throw you for a loop. Here's one more that I feel the pain of the character. The first Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. I feel bad for Arthur Fleck. I feel bad for him, his character, because he was abused. So that's like my favorites down the line, seeing the emotion and how it was made, and seeing the lighting and things like that. So now I see things a lot differently right now of how the camera angles and how it made things kind of darker to kind of show the emotion. So now if you ask me the same question about a year ago, it'll be different.
All right, Brian, what's your top 5?
My top 5, 40-something years ago, my brother Stan Man brought home a Betamax VCR, and we had the film called Terms of Endearment with Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson and a few other, Deborah Winger and Jeff Bridges. And for some reason, that's one of those films I can watch all the time. I love the way the light hits it. I love the feel of that film. I love the story and how it goes in different places. I love the hardship that they go through. But also I love the fact that we follow these characters over a long journey. I love that. The next one will be Love Affair with Warren Beatty and Annette Bening. One day the Bulls were in the playoffs on Channel 5, something like that. I was flipping through the channel doing a commercial, and that film was on. And I kept going back to it and back to it and back to it. It's one of my favorite movies. And even when my daughter was home from college a couple of years ago, and I said, let's watch this movie, and she cried at the end. That's the one when they're supposed to meet at the top of the Empire State Building. And she cried at the end, like, man, this is something we can always share. My third one, I mentioned before, Tombstone. That's always my favorite. I don't know why. I'll pause the DVR and go grab up some popcorn and a sandwich just to watch it. Loving basketball. There's nothing compared to Sanaa Lathan in the world, so I watch Loving Basketball, and again, things that tell a story. I think that's what it is. And then my last one would be Best Man. And we have a culmination of all these different actors and who paved the way, and it reminds you of growing up in different black and brown people you want to aspire to be like. And Terrence Howard was my man in that. I mean, he was such a thrill in that film. And I don't think he was a star in that. But actually, I know we're coming up to the top of the hour. We've actually passed the top of the hour. But Reggie, can you talk about that? Because Terrence Howard, he was not the star of the film, but something in it made him stand out. If you could, can you think about that?
He's a protagonist.
I want you to say what you just said.
He was the protagonist. He was not the villain, but he kind of brought, like, you disliked him, but you couldn't keep your eyes off him.
And he reminded you of someone in your family.
Yeah.
Uncle Joe.
Or that close friend.
Or that close friend and be like, nah, y'all, we ain't gonna do this right now. We ain't gonna do this like that. You know that you should tell him you slept with his mom. And so we know that there's somebody that we cannot tell the secret to.
Well, that might be us. We may have done it also.
Or we might have done it as well.
We might be the person who did the issue, but
who threw somebody under the bus. I know that. So when you talk about an unexpected character, that's that unexpected character that you don't believe that the writer put that person in. You know how when we say please don't tell our business, is that's one of those things where you got a person telling our business, and you're like, no, don't put our business out on the street. We say that all the time. But there's somebody in our circle who does that, and I think that we can all identify with that, and that he played that role phenomenally.
He did.
Phenomenally.
But then you also got, what is it, I can't think his first name, but he played Murch.
Oh, he was great.
That was a phenomenal, brilliant role also. He was the smartest person in the entire crew. But everybody thought that he was some kind of punk or something like that.
He was overlooked and underrated.
And he was nerdy. I mean, he was that nerdy friend that we had that didn't really understand. No, she don't love you. She just giving you a lap dance, dude. What's up?
But it's more character development in the TV show that they did. The show, if you're talking about his character in general, just real quick, is that more development of it showed his pain when they did the movie of that, and it's like he had to prove his worth.
The series, the TV series.
He had to prove his worth, that you turn right around and he saw how nerdy that his friend saw him, and he had to go do something to kind of really prove that he's worthy. And he fought somebody to kind of prove his worth, and they respected him then because he had to do something tough. So it's like this, they wrote that on purpose, and that is some of us. I can relate to some of everybody now. Harper, Merch.
Absolutely. When you look at Malcolm Lee, he wrote these characters for us. He wrote the characters that we all have that friend that we thought maybe we might have got together with, but we didn't because of whatever it was, or we did, but we remained friends for a long, long time. And he was able to say, let me write the true character, not something that wouldn't happen, but something that would. So when they're in the room together, it's like, hey, you want to do it? You want to do it? Can we get together? Can we? And be like, I never really thought of you like that, but yeah, let's try this out. And so I just think Malcolm Lee really wrote that really well. And when you talk about the series, he did a really great job in terms of delving deeper into the series. But you know he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do the series.
Really?
No. He did not want, I got to interview him. He did not want to do the series. He just couldn't get the funding for the next movie.
Wow.
He couldn't get the funding.
Well, I thought the series was phenomenal.
It was the turnout of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, piggybacking off what you said, I can see him not wanting to do that because of the
Major TV.
yeah. Just think about the broadness of where the movie had already went. You know,
The first two movies.
right? So a lot of times you feel as though that it's gonna be watered down.
Got you.
He already wrote the script. He had already written the script for the third movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He said, I already wrote the script, but I just couldn't get it funded. So then they pivoted, and this kind of goes back to that first question about, how do you become a filmmaker and how do you do what you do? You pivot. You figure out. You say, I still have a story to tell. David, I can't find the money to do it here. What Spike Lee did with Malcolm X is he went to all the black people and said, hey, give me some money. We need to make this movie. It's important. What Issa Rae did was like, well, I don't have no money. Let me put it on YouTube. What Malcolm Lee did is said, well, I can't get the money, but I still got the story. And there's still somebody somewhere that believes in me. Let me see if I can find if we can work together. So he still accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, but he had written the third script.
Wow.
That was me, I'm sorry.
Probably would still be talking if we didn't have, if he just didn't have to do, to kind of keep going. One of the questions I want to ask, that I don't know if we have time or not, is that in that film, The Best Man, whenever we see Melissa, she played the role of Shelby. I was going to mispronounce her last name. But when you see characters, when you get to talk, when you get a chance to talk to the celebrities, the filmmakers, and the actors or so, and we know them as these characters like Shelby. We know the girl Candace from the Tyler Perry, the Have and Have Nots. How do we don't in our black community? I don't think we typecast them because we support those people because we recognize them. But how do they feel? How do they talk about how they feel about being sort of typecast with that particular name? I hope I'm asking the question the right way.
I'm not sure of the question. I'm sorry.
I said that's Shelby. Or if you go to the Girlfriends TV show with Tracy Ellis Ross, you always think with Joan Clayton on the TV show Girlfriends or so. Do they ever talk about how they sometimes get typecasted from the white writer's perspective, but for the black people, we can see them playing in so many different roles. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, many actors are defined by their role. They're defined by their role. And the guy who played Urkel,
Oh, yeah.
he's walking through the street, you know, everybody's walking up to him like, did I do that? I mean, and after a while, they will tell you it gets old. It gets old for them because they keep hearing it over and over again. But the smart ones will tell you is that it's also a compliment to their work. So when you look at some of the people who played in The Wire, they can't get away from their role in The Wire, even though they've been playing other things. People just see them as that you were in The Wire. So it's a double-edged sword. And you did a good job, dude. You did a good job, man. You were phenomenal in the role, so they see you as that person. Felicia Rashad, it doesn't matter what she does. She's still going to be
Claire Huxtable.
She's going to be thought of as Claire
The
Huxtable.
Cosby Show. The Cosby
Always.
Show. The only place I.
Always.
People gonna walk up to her and be, you know, for me, Debbie Allen is fame. I mean,
Yes,
I
right.
can't. I mean, I can look at Debbie Allen, but anyway, that's another story.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Debbie Allen is fame, and there's no way that I'm gonna think of her. Yeah, I saw her on what's the doctor show, Grey's Anatomy. Nah, she is fame. So yeah, you do get kind of typecast, and for younger folks, younger actors, sometimes that's a curse because people can only see you how they see you. So when you look at, just to do a parallel, when you look at music, you have a lot of people in music who want to expand beyond the genre in which they have. Beyonce has been trying to do that her whole career. And she's been successful just recently in really breaking that mold
Yeah.
by moving into country. But she has been doing other stuff for a long time, but people kept trying to push her back into this thing. And so sometimes when we do things that are different, we get that pushback, like, no, that's not you. I spoke to one actor, Blair Underwood, and he said, look, I have to do the things I need to do the things that I want to do. So there'll be some roles from a typecasting perspective that I'll need to do just because. But when you look at somebody like a Robert Townsend, Robert says, look, we're going to talk about this typecasting. It's so really interesting because that's what Robert and them want to say. But I'm going to get you sucker. You know, they want to say, look, you guys are trying to put us in a box. And you only want us to play these kind of roles, but we have a lot more to offer. And it's just the actor that has to try to figure out, how do I get out of that box? How do I get out of that box? Because everybody only sees me as the cute girl or this. And Halle Berry had a tough time with that as well. That's how come she did things like Monster. Now, should she have won an Oscar for Monster? I don't think that was her best role, but I'm happy that she was able to do that. That's a long answer, but I'm done. Bye.
I'm glad that, so just real quick, I'm glad you said that because me and Victor and Brian were just talking about this, is that it could be an actor that you love to hate. Like even though Blair Underwood played Russell Simmons in
I don't think I saw that one.
was it Crush Groove?
Oh, yeah, he sure did play Rush.
But-
That's right.
But you hated him in Medea's Family Reunion.
Yes, you did.
I can't think of the Chicago actor, but you hated him as Charles in Medea's Diary of Mad Black Woman. You hated Mike, the character Mike.
Oh, why did I get it? Yeah.
You hated that. But my mother would say to this very day, even though he did Lethal Weapon, she hated Danny Glover in Color Purple. So when an actor has played that role so well that you attach that person to that, when I could look at you like, I dislike this person when I see him, it's because that role, that person bodied their role.
Yeah.
And that's typically going right back to the beginning, how I now start to write. I need to have somebody that if you hate that role, it's because that person really embodied that role. And as you said, that's where the typecasting come from, because you play that role so well that everybody associates you with that. And being around celebrities, being in the music industry, it becomes tiresome. And from the other side of it, it's like when you see a celebrity in the streets, they're not there to just sing free. They're not there to do something. So at the end of the day, leave me alone. Because they are not that role. They are a entertainer, so let them be an entertainer and a human being too.
Yeah, but those, like you said, those roles bring back nostalgia for the person who experienced it. So that's why it's all, no matter what you do,
Or where you go,
oh, that's right.
it's gonna be labeled.
That's right.
As Tina Turner, you gonna be Tina Turner.
That's it.
Anime.
That's how they gonna see you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Because we're way over our usual time.
Yeah. Then,
In October, go to my upstage, a load of information about your acting reels, and there's a writing workshop, and there's so much talent in Chicago. So let's continue to support the Chicagoland talent, and especially brothers like Mr. Reggie Ponder. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. I do have a question.
Sure.
My question is, we didn't get to learn as much about you as we should. And so my question is, at least tell us about a couple of the projects that you've worked on. You don't have to go long, but I just would like to hear a little bit about you and your project.
Okay, right now, everyone knows that I'm.
Who are you?
I'm Daniel Brooks.
There we go.
I am a Chicago native, little black boy from the West Side, and I am truly living my black boy joy. I'm on Tubi right now. For writer and director Aretha Tatum. I'm in her series, Season the Series, where I play the assistant pastor, Willie. We have multiple episodes streaming right now. We just did a music video that is streaming all over the place. We're getting ready to film some more episodes at the end of July that I just received my script from. I just booked the role in Vengeance, which is a story and screenplay by Andre M. Harris.
what?
Yes.
I'll be working on that too.
I'll be working with you again.
Get out.
I just booked Byron, the role of Byron for Trauma Attraction. I've also booked the role of Chardon Arclight for Blood in the Moon, at which I'm extremely excited about because I want to broaden my horizons when it comes to acting. And when I say broaden my horizons is I've been stereotyped myself, so I know what that's like. I've booked a lot of roles where I'm a pastor, assistant pastor, an elder, things of that nature. And don't get me wrong, I love the Lord and I know that the Lord loves me. He lives within me. Church ain't just Sunday morning when it comes to me. Church is every day of the week. But with directors like Brother Maurice Jones, and they've allowed me to step outside of that character, where I was playing police officers and detectives and doctors and things of that nature. So yeah, I know what it's like to be stereotyped.
Yeah.
Small world. Man, I worked with Andrea on Vengeance when it was first filmed in DC,
Okay.
and then now it's being reshot here in Chicago with Maurice.
And I'm excited.
Yeah, you'll find that it's a great story. It's one that had a turn that, again, you won't expect at the end. So that brings me to our the end of our show, and we always end it with just these few questions. And we call this a pass baton. What information would you like to pass on to that next generation, Mr. Ponder?
It sounds so easy because it's a cliche, it's just do it. It really is a cliche. It is hard to just do it.
Yes.
It really is. So I really understand. And so when I say this, I can see people listening, rolling their eyes in their head like, yeah, he's just saying just do it. But it really is that. You have to just do it. If you're an actor and you don't have any scripts or nobody's giving you anything to do what you just said, Victor. Go back to one of those movies and do the whole thing. Just act out the part that you think that or do what you just said about act out all the parts. Act out the guy, the girl, the mom, the dad. Act out all the parts. But if you're an actor and you're not working on your craft, then you're not an actor. Same thing with if you're a writer. If you're a writer and you're not working on your craft, and I'm not saying work on your craft like you might have a job, so you probably can't get to it like you really like to. You sat down and wrote in the whole day. You know, because of Victor, right? Whatever. Whatever.
It's a challenge, right?
Challenge.
But, you
You're a
know,
black boy from the West Side. You challenge somebody saying you can't do it?
Come on now. We
so
taking on all challenges.
So my advice would be, do some baby steps and do it. So a lot of people don't like journaling. Journaling is probably one of the best things to do, is to sit down and start to write stuff, because what will happen is that people say write what you know. And when you are making your plays and things of that nature, well, once you start journaling, you go back and you'll see all the stuff that you know. But if you don't write it down, you don't remember all the things that you went through, all the trauma, all the pain that it took you to get the 16 roles. Dang, you got so many roles. My goodness, you blessed. You're right. God is with you at all the time. God is good
All the time.
Yeah.
So that my advice would be is to just do it, understanding that it's not as easy as just do it. The just doing it is hard, but try to figure out a way to do little pieces at a time, to try to put it all together so that you can be where you like to be.
My advice to anybody that's doing it, I didn't come from that. I didn't go to school for that. But by the grace of God, He placed me in places that I never thought I would be. Around people I never thought I would be around. Sitting at tables I never thought I would sit at. And afforded these opportunities for me. I can't do nothing but give it back to Him.
All right, you said enough with that one. And matter of fact, one of the judges who will be here at A Taste of Theater was in The Wire. So when you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, Nakia Dillard, who was in The Wire, will be here in October for A Taste of Theater Festival.
I'd love to hear what your advice would be, because you got challenged. I'd love to hear.
You know what? As me and Donnell were talking earlier, me and Victor and Brian were talking about this for the past couple of years, is that as a child, as a person who was not seen, all I ever wanted to do was just be in the room of somebody famous. I just wanted to be in the room. I didn't care if the room was a huge auditorium. If I could just be in the room, I felt like maybe something would pass on to me. And not only did I go from being in the room, but I've done great things with a lot of the people I would have never thought that I would have done music for, being behind the scenes, managing, road manager, public announcement, like just doing so much. It's like, that's crazy. I did ghostwriting, ghost producing, like, you know, I've lost money starting off, just starting the business, but just the very people I was singing their songs in high school, they're not my friends. And then I didn't want to act. We joke about this, I didn't want to act. I was just there assisting my brother. And then I became an actor on that day and loved it so much. I didn't want to music produce. I just wanted to play drums behind somebody famous. And every single thing, it just happened in the right place, right time. And go right, little kid from the west side of Chicago, K-Town, who is not seen, beat up, and now look at me right now. Person who was not seen and not heard. I'm a therapist for a living. Who wrote a stage play that has some of us in it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thankful. And I'm thankful to have people who believe in me and cast in my first role, in my first play. And thank you.
All right, so we're gonna close out the show, and again, thank you all, thank everyone, Mr. Ponder, can't thank you enough for not only coming out to the film showcase, because we, believe it or not, that film showcase happened as a result of an interview that we did with Cortez Mack, and he told us that there was such thing as a Black Film Critics Association, because I'd never even heard of it. And so then I reached out and they said, oh, there's a film critic in your area. And I was like, what? And that's how I found you, Mr. Ponder. So we have to thank Mr. Cortez Mack for even planting the seed. And it was because of him, we even had the film showcase. So we want to say shout out to him. So as we always end the show, and thank you, Donnell, for not only coming out to coming out and being a part of the relative history, but stepping in to join Benaiah in his play. We appreciate you. Now, so you get with Maurice and doing.
Thank you both for having me. I appreciate that, and I shout out to Miss Aretha Tatum for connecting me to you.
Yes, yes. So we're going to close out the show with the one who started it all, and like you, I grew up sitting in a movie theater watching this man.
Yeah.
And then to actually, I never met him, but got a chance to start working with people who worked for him.
Yes.
And matter of fact, one of them will be at the Taste of Theater Festival this coming fall, October. He'll be teaching dance classes, and you'll be able to sit down with him and also for his Q&A and learn what it was like to work with Prince Rogers Nelson.
That was one of my first loves. Dance was definitely one of my first loves. That's where it all started.
Then you might want to come learn, come to a Taste of Theater Festival the day before,
Yes.
where the dance class will be held with Damon Dixon. So, because anytime I get a chance to talk about anybody off the Prince camp,
There we go.
I'm like a kid in heaven because of this film right here, and this is Prince, Father Song from the movie Purple Rain.
Place to do the radio.
Phenomenal show.
Oh man, it was outstanding.
Oh, man. Phenomenal.
Mr. Ponder, you did it again.
I don't know what I did, but.
Yes, you did.
As long as it worked for you guys.
Great to meet you, sir.
It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. But congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Yes.
Man,
Thank you.
That's
much love.
that's the fantastic thing.